Well, top of the Monday morning to you. I'm Jason, and
Brad.
this is Brad. He just kind of said his name. We're here on a Monday at the warehouse for another Orange Perspective, and we are going to discuss today our book, Leadership: Developing the Leader Within You. This wonderful book. Hopefully you're reading along. We're in chapter 2 today.
Chapter 2.
Let me give you a rundown of what chapter 2 is all about. It is about priorities. It's about defining success. And very early on, they talk about the 20-80 principle. I don't know if you've heard about that, but let me tell you how they define the 20-80 principle. Basically, 20% of your priorities will give you 80% of your production if you spend time, energy, money, and personnel on the top 20% of your priorities. What do you think about that?
I think it's accurate. I think you need to know what your top 20% priorities are. I think it's important to know your top 20% people as well. So the people that you're leading, who gives you the most return, as well as being able to organize just the tasks of what your job is. And that sort of hierarchy, I think, is helpful too.
What do you do with the 80% of the people? You just forget them?
No, you rely on that 20% to help lead them effectively.
He also talks about in this chapter that every person is either a leader, an initiator, or a reactor. Either you're going to lead or you're going to follow. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I really like this. I think the difference is he lays it out. A leader is someone who can proactively think through problems in the future or address things before they happen, which requires planning, the ability to see ahead of things, and the ability to identify potential problems with people or processes, and understand how they work when they're actually going to be implemented. So a leader is proactively doing that. And then I think followers, what the heck?
Everything's
disaster. I think followers are people who are reactionary. So they don't tend to solve problems until they've already happened, and they try to evaluate looking back at the problem after it's occurred.
So your book just dropped, your pen just dropped, you reacted to that drop,
Yep.
and you picked it up. I mean, you weren't a very good leader.
No, a leader would have had the book well out of range, not to knock it over.
Right.
Thinking ahead.
Yeah. So he lists a few different things that a leader does and a follower does, and you can compare those. A leader initiates, a follower reacts. A leader anticipates problems like what you're talking about, but a follower is going to react to a problem instead of anticipate that problem. A leader is going to plan and invest time with people, but a follower is someone who kind of passively waits for something to happen, passively waits for someone to hang out with, and they spend time with people but not to invest in them and develop them.
Yeah, and he talks a lot about intentionality in investing time in people. So structuring every time you're hanging out with somebody, knowing what that interaction is going to be like, or thinking through what you want to talk about. That's what a leader does with their relationships, with the people that they work with or encounter.
You're about to mess that whole book up again. Let's move it. Let's be a leader.
Get it out of my hands.
Yes, right there.
So I thought that part was very insightful.
Yeah.
Practical stuff you can do. You can think about conversations you're going to have with your managers or whoever you're leading, and think through those before they actually happen. It's going to give you a higher return on what you're getting out of that person.
Yep, that's good. And the way that you develop this, according to the chapter, is 3 R's that he gives us. 1 is requirements, 2 is return, and 3 is reward. Your requirements are what is required of you in your job. 2nd, what gives the most return? You should know that and list those. And then what is the most rewarding? What are the things in your job, in your role, that bring the most reward for you? So here's the question we have for you today.
What brings you the most return and the most reward in your job?
Make some comments and let us know. We can't wait to see.
Thanks for watching.
See you later. So here's the question we want to leave you today with. Nope. Don't end the freaking sentence on a preposition. It's ridiculous. What to do? I just watched some of The Office, Andy.